All right, so this is kind of a complex way to set things up, but I thought this was something that some students were coming across and they didn't quite know how to deal with. So here's the scenario. You've got multiple plants, so different light treatments. So I'm growing plants in different light setting, 100% light, 75% light, 50% light, 25%, zero light. I'm running this experiment for many days, so a month. And to do an experiment correctly, you need to have at least 3 trials for each treatment. So this table that you see up here, this is my finalized table that I end up using that information to make a graph. But to get to that end game, you need to do a little bit of work in these other tables, and you can use kind of what I did as a setup if you need help kind of getting things organized. So each little chunk down here, so I have, this is my 100% light treatment. This table here, all that information there is for one data set. And then this down here, the average, is what's represented in this line up here. Okay? So here's how this sets up. I have my initial height in centimeters. So this is how tall my plant was when I started, how tall my plant was when I started. And I have 3 different plants. So one that was 32 centimeters, 34, and 33. Now, what I wanted to do is I didn't want to graph that value. I wanted to graph the rate of growth, so the difference beyond the start out height. So over here I have this initial height of the plant marked, and that initial height is set up so that I can write an equation down here in this bottom part and have the computer calculate the growth out itself. So what I've done is I have this information of in an equation. You see up here I have equals sum, so I'm going to do a little math, equals B12, this 32, and then I'm going to subtract whatever is in this cell here, I12, and the initial growth, or the growth after day 1, is 0 because that was our starting growth, right? I then transferred the equation down here, and we're taking B13 and I13, and down here we're doing B14 and I14. And then once you have that set up, then you input your data here of the actual height that you measure, and it'll already calculate out the rate of growth or how much it grew. So for example, if I were to put this in here as 36 centimeters, you'll see down here it calculated and went to 4. So let me do an undo. See how it's 33, it's only 1 centimeter growth. 36, it's 4 centimeters growth. So you can see that updates real. And then here I'm taking the average. So I've got equals, average, and then I'm doing the average of these cells, B16 through B18, and then the computer calculates out the average. It's that average column that I then put up here, and then it's this data that I then graphed. Okay? So there's a couple equation things I did there, but you can kind of look through and see how I kind of did that if you wanted to take a peek. Ultimately, I make a chart, and my chart looks something like this, where I have my days of growth, and then my different bars are representing the different light treatments. All right? So hopefully that helps with those that were doing some kind of duplicate of something over a long period of time and you didn't quite know how to get things graphed, but ultimately you want to graph the average. But you can share this whole data table. As you see, as I scroll down, there's one for each one of these with your in your report or in your final result. You obviously share your data table, but you only need to graph your averages. All right? Hope that helps. Take a look through things and see if you can't make it work for what you're trying to do.